Among Dragon Ball fans, there exists an eternal question.
Who exactly is the absolute best Dragon Ball villain?
Frankly, the answer almost always comes down to one of two choices.
The Emperor of the Universe, Frieza?
Or the ultimate life form, Cell.
We certainly know who the series itself seems to favor these days.
Yeah, but if I'm honest, I have always preferred the alternative.
Right. To hear Riley tell it, there's no Dragon Ball villain more perfect than Cell.
Damn it, Rila!
Whatever could be wrong, Riley?
Nothing, never mind, but she's right. And let's get something straight here. It's not because he's cool or badass or funny. Granted, he is absolutely all of those things, but the reason Cell's so awesome to me just comes down to storytelling preferences. See, I'm someone who really appreciates pure storytelling mechanics, and that's what I love about the Cell saga so much. As far as I'm concerned, he is the Dragon Ball villain with the strongest writing surrounding him, bar none. So, let's talk about my favorite artificial bugman from the future.
As opposed to that other artificial bugman?
Rila, shut up! Let's talk about Cell. Let's start where most good stories do, at the beginning.
Ooh, yeah, even I have to admit, Cell's introduction is just...
It's totally chilling, right?
Yeah, it was honestly a really different look for Dragon Ball.
Usually, when characters in Dragon Ball are afraid of anything, it's because of some abstract quality like their enemy's power level. They can sense or experience that the bad guy is stronger than them.
But with Cell, it's different. Cell was scary from the beginning, and this time it wasn't just our heroes that we were afraid for. His introduction was just really, really creepy. Toriyama tapped into something with Cell's introduction that he really never did with previous villains. Horror.
Cell wasn't just scary because of what he was. You don't even see him right away. Cell is terrifying because of what he did, and actually not seeing him early on just fuels that sensation. It's a very base, primal type of fear.
And even when he does become a more typical shonen villain, after his transformations, there's still that knowledge in the back of your head of what he did to get that far. It's seriously terrifying to think about.
Hell, even the Team 4-star version in DBZ Abridged nailed this bit. In fact, they enhanced it even more with their editing tricks, taking an already creepy introduction and dialing it up to 11. Having Cell first appear by singing a downright ominous rendition of Mr. Sandman just sells the whole thing.
Yeah, that was, that creeped me out big time when I first saw it. Still does, actually.
And that's just his introduction. The more we learn about Cell, the better things get. We learn that Cell is basically a consequence of Trunks' time travel shenanigans, and that just makes him even more interesting. Cell was just different from pretty much every villain before him, and yet he wasn't.
Because there was a little of nearly every villain in him all along.
Did you just Wizard of Oz Cell's hook?
No idea what you're talking about.
Uh-huh, sure. But it's true. Cell's biggest draw is what you find out about him later. He actually has the DNA of almost every fighter Goku's met since King Piccolo, data on their fighting styles, and a ton of their techniques, which brings me to the next point. Cell was supposed to be the last big bad of Dragon Ball Z.
Wait, he was?
Basically, yeah. Toriyama had no intention of continuing DBZ after Cell. Not initially. He was eventually roped back into it, but that's beside the point. Taking this context into account, it just makes Cell even more awesome.
What? Just because he's a cool villain who happens to be the intended ending of the series?
Well, sure, he's definitely that, but what better way to go out than with a villain who encapsulates almost everything the series has thrown at us so far?
Oh, I get it. Cell was supposed to be a sort of swan song for Dragon Ball as a whole.
Yeah, something like a Dragon Ball's greatest hits track. The Tournament of Power arc tried to do that in Dragon Ball Super, but the results were just nowhere near as good. Taking that idea and concentrating it all into one badass character just makes the whole thing so much more engaging than mashing everything into a tournament with a lot of honestly forgettable faces and thoughtless moments of fan service.
Yeah, the Tournament of Power was pretty bloated. It definitely had its moments,
Oh, hell yeah!
but it went on for way too long and didn't really have the same strong narrative hook that other tournaments before it did.
Right. Honestly, Cell just brings a way more personal angle. Created to kill Goku, allowed into the past by Trunks, but there's one other incredibly strong personal connection that makes Cell click so well as a villain, and that is Gohan.
I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to find anyone who didn't think the father-son Kamehameha was one of the highlights of the series.
At the end of the day, Dragon Ball Z is a story about passing the torch. From the very beginning, it was setting up Gohan to take up his dad's mantle as Guardian of the Earth. The Cell Saga was supposed to be that final test to see it through.
For a lot of fans, it marked the fulfillment of Gohan's character journey, inheriting Goku's role. Having a villain as tough to fight as Cell definitely makes a statement.
Sure, but it's not just that Cell was powerful.
It's not? But isn't the whole idea that Gohan defeated someone who his dad couldn't?
Yes and no. The thing that makes Cell such a great test is that Goku did defeat him. All of him.
Huh?
Goku has fought with or against every single person in Cell's makeup. Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza, the works.
Oh, I get it. What better way to test Gohan and make sure he's ready to take over than to have him fight an enemy that's made from every major opponent his dad ever fought?
Exactly. Perfect Cell is, for all intents and purposes, a glorified boss gauntlet, all boiled down into a single character. I honestly can't think of any better test for him than that. It's some really sharp writing. And that's basically it. The main reasons I think Cell is just perfect.
Couldn't help yourself, could ya?
One every now and then is fine. Seriously though, I'm just grateful we have Cell at all.
Huh? Why?
We all know Toriyama is one of those writers who sometimes benefits from a little editorial supervision. If it were left up to him, we wouldn't have gotten any versions of Cell. Heck, we wouldn't have even gotten Androids 17 and 18. Toriyama was gonna stop at Gero and 19 if not for his editor.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been a very different story.
Right? Anyway, what about you guys?
Are you more of a Frieza person?
Or do you prefer Perfect Cell?
Mr. Perfect Cell.
Alright, that. Leave a comment below and give that like button a zap while you're down there.
Don't forget to subscribe. Also, give that bell a ring so you're notified whenever we upload a new video.
This has been a Bulletoon weekend.
I'm Rila, signing off.
I'm Riley, bowing out.
Thanks so much for watching.
Keep up the awesome and stay
Stay tuned!
tuned.